Welcome back to Building People, Companies, and Careers. I'm your host, Amy Pack. At AccruePartners, we partner with organizations during times of growth, change, leadership transition, and transformation here, Charlotte, the Carolinas, and beyond. In honor of International Women's History Month, today's conversation features women leaders who are shaping organizations, driving impact, redefining what leadership looks like. We'll explore their journeys, lessons learned, and impact they're making today. In celebration of International Women's History Month, I'm super excited to have you with me, Mercedes Aycinena, to share us a little bit about your leadership journey through your career, which one that I find to be so fascinating as you grew up in Spain and
hmm
started your education there, then moved into the U.S. to further your education. But I'm excited to have a conversation with you as one of the chats as we celebrate this month. So why don't we start out with tell me about yourself?
All right. Well, thank you, Amy, for inviting me to join you. I'm from Madrid, Spain, born and raised, but I've lived in Europe, Latin America, and the US most
Wow.
of my career. I have about 20 plus years of experience always in healthcare. That's my passion. That's what gets me going in the morning.
Yeah.
So I've worked with pharma, with medical device, pharmacy, supply chain, med tech, and dental, mostly in commercial functions, marketing, product management, and they ended up in as a CEO. And now I help founders scale their startups. I have three teenagers at home, so I go to work to relax.
I was gonna say that's a whole different level of
But
work.
they're two kids. They're good kids, just
Yeah.
not at the same time. But
Yeah.
it's good.
Well, great. All right. So let's kick it off with when you look at your career, what moment or decision shaped you into the leader you are today?
Mm. It wasn't a single moment. I think it was a shift. The more the bigger I got my teams and the more responsibility, I realized that the more impact you have, the less it's about you. I'm not in love with the term servant leader, but I do believe that leaders have to set the direction and the strategy, but then they have to build the systems and the structure and the support and empower the teams to execute.
Hmm.
And their success then is your success.
Right.
But there was a moment that shaped the type of leader I aspired to be, and it was a hard one. I had to let go two top performers for
Mm.
ethical reasons, and at the time I thought this was going to hurt. But I also knew that if I didn't act, I would be signaling that performance mattered more than integrity,
Right.
and it did hurt.
Hmm.
Revenue in that region took a hit,
Hmm.
but culture didn't.
Hmm.
And as I saw the trust deepen across the organization afterwards, I realized that's the type of leader I wanted to be,
Hmm.
especially during hard times. Because leadership is not tested during easy times,
No.
and values only matter when they cost you something.
Right. 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 Well, thank you for sharing that. I know there's lots to be learned in every step of the journey,
hmm
if you will. So, was there a point when you had to stop waiting for permission and to fully own a seat at the table?
I think that as you get more responsibility and accountability over a business or a team, the less you can wait for permission. Earlier in my career, I would wait for direction and execute beautifully and wait for approval. But leadership at some point expects you to say, this is the direction, this is what we're doing and why, this is the rationale, these are the risks, this is the mitigation plan, and we're moving. So when I had to ask for approval, I positioned it as a alignment, not a splitting.
Mm-hmm.
And most times than not, I didn't get much pushback. Not because I was perfect or aggressive, but because I was accountable.
Mm-hmm.
And that shift from waiting to for direction to setting the direction, that's how people, their perception of you change, and that's also how you change seeing yourself as a leader.
Mm-hmm.
I think that leadership isn't granted; is assumed through accountability.
Right. And
Mhm.
accountability is a big thing, right?
Mhm.
So, how do you think about your responsibility as a leader when it comes to building people in addition to results? Obviously, results matter,
Mhm.
but
That's a good one because to me, building people is how you build results.
right.
They're not two separate conversations. And maybe because I'm very aligned to Richard Branson's philosophy that when you take care of your employees first,
Mm-hmm.
they'll take care of your customer.
Right.
So, as a leader, it's really important for me to set up an environment um, where high performance feels fair and also feels sustainable. Um, but it's on you to really build the systems. And when I was CEO, my last job, we reduced turnover dramatically, not through slogans on a wall or slide decks, but really taking action to be more employee centric.
Mm-hmm.
So we stop and listen and listen to their needs and their concerns, and then we adjusted salaries, we created career paths, we invested in tools and development. We implemented work-life balance. And we made really hard decisions to protect the culture too,
Mm-hmm.
because I believe the culture and profit, they race together when you take care of the
Right.
team. So that
And
to me
that
is
was
very
during an
important.
interesting time when trying to identify what the work styles were going to be like.
Hmm.
Are you going back to work? Are you hybrid? What does that look like? Y'all had just built a new office.
Hmm.
And so those have been some tricky times.
Yes, indeed. Uh, but like I said, like you have to take care of your teams if you really want results.
Yeah, without the team,
Hmm.
you can't get results.
Hmm.
So, what belief about leadership did you have earlier in your career that you have had to since then unlearn?
Hmm. I used to think that being calm and kind, which is different than nice, was being perceived as soft, and also that strong leaders know everything and they dominate the room and they have all the answers. And I was wrong. I think calm is power. During crisis, it steadies the room
Mm-hmm.
and creates space for resolution. And during growth, it builds trust.
Mm-hmm.
And you can be ambitious and empathetic; those are not opposite. And you can be very supportive and make really tough calls. And you certainly don't need to know everything. You need to surround yourself with people who do,
Mm-hmm.
but continue learning and ask for help when needed. Um, I think that leaders have to be, yes, resilient and motivate people, but it's okay to be vulnerable,
Mm-hmm.
and recognize when you're not at your best and admit when you're wrong. Imagine that. So,
Nobody's perfect.
no, no, no. And stubborn, close minded leadership is very unhealthy for the business and
Mm-hmm.
for everybody around them. To me, psychological safety is not built by perfection, but by humility.
Right.
So I've learned that strong leadership doesn't have to be loud, but emotional intelligence at the top is not optional.
Right.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. That's great. So, as you look ahead, what does meaningful success look like for you now beyond title and beyond achievement?
Mhm. My vision for a company, it goes beyond a revenue number, even the number, although those are important. But to me, it's to build a workplace where people want to go to work every day or
Mm-hmm.
almost every day without the Sunday scaries. Um, years ago, yes, title and scope was meant success,
Mm-hmm.
but now it means, did I build something sustainable? Did I elevate people? Did I stay aligned to my values?
Mm-hmm.
And if I can look back and see the teams are stronger and more capable
Mm-hmm.
and happier because I was there, that's success for me.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Okay. So now on to the rapid fire. What's one piece of advice you wish someone had given you 10 years earlier?
Hmm, a few of them, but challenge the status quo early and often,
Mm-hmm.
not to be contrarian, but to improve things.
Mm-hmm.
I've worked a lot in systems that were less than ideal. I think that people that have the most impact are the ones that they don't protect the default settings, the way
Mm-hmm.
it's been done, but they challenge them. and they take calculated risks,
Mm-hmm.
and they innovate. So I wish I would have trusted that curiosity earlier and trusted that challenging wasn't disrespectful.
Mm-hmm.
It was leadership.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I hear that a lot from people. And I think some of it comes with maturity.
Mhm.
But how can you advance that piece of maturity a little bit sooner in someone's career? Because it could certainly make a difference.
Mhm.
I think of that often, especially with the women here at Accrue
Mhm.
Partners.
Well, I think that is if leaders, like I was saying, they establish psychological safety where
Mm-hmm.
people feel comfortable speaking up about what's not going well, what's not working, but also try ideas and
Mm-hmm.
being okay with failing, because
Mm-hmm.
unless you fail, you're not going to learn from it.
Right.
So it takes leaders, it takes good mentorship, and it takes your own courage
Yeah,
to try new things.
exactly.
Mhm.
All right. So, our last rapid fire question: what's one bold move that changed your career
Mhm.
trajectory?
I think it was probably when I raised my hand the first time to ask for a bigger executive role, when the president at the time had said that there was no internal talent for it. And everybody got very offended, and so did I, but not for long. I thought, he barely knows me, let alone what I can do.
Yeah.
So I built a plan. I asked for feedback. I secured internal support, and I threw my ring in the hat versus 8 external candidates, and I got the job.
Mm-hmm.
And that shift, that made me change how I saw myself and what I can or cannot do.
Right.
And that pattern repeated years later when I applied for the CEO role, that
Mm-hmm.
I didn't check all the traditional boxes, but I knew the business, I knew the people, and I knew what could look like.
Right.
And nobody tapped me in the shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, you have to realize that nobody's going to crown you. You gotta raise your hand, you gotta state your case, and ask for the seat.
Mm-hmm.
I recently heard Barbara Corcoran,
Mm-hmm.
big business women, one of the
Yeah.
sharks. She said that when something is it's unfair situation, like playing the victim, it's just handing out your power, and nobody takes my power away. And I agree with her. So that's kind of stuck with me. That just focus on what you can influence
Mm-hmm.
and speak up. Confidence, doesn't come from knowing that you're perfect or that you know everything, but from knowing that you'll figure it out.
Right.
But you have to be bold enough to step up and go for it.
You got to be your own biggest fan.
Hmm.
Nobody else is going to be there to do it for
No,
you.
no.
So, well, wonderful. Well, Mercedes, I appreciate the opportunity to hear more, a little bit about your career journey, the impactful moments and pivotal moments that have gotten you where you are today. So, thank you.
Well, thank you, Amy. It was great chatting with you.
Yes, you as well.